Royals are often expected to remain composed in public, but from funerals to terror attacks to birthday parties, some occasions are so emotional that they just can't help but shed a tear. Meghan Markle's strange circumstances with the British royal family didn't seem to affect her relationship with Queen Elizabeth II, to whom she remained committed to the end. Meghan flew down to Britain for her funeral in 2022, mourning the loss at par with the rest of the royal family. She wore an all-black ensemble and a somber expression on her face, and she wasn't afraid to shed a tear or two either. Talking to Variety about processing this grief, Meghan said, "I've reflected on that first official engagement that I had with her, how special that felt. I feel fortunate, and I continue to be proud to have had a nice warmth with the matriarch of the family." When Meghan joined the firm in 2018, royal commentators generally praised the rapport she seemed to have built with the Queen. Questions soon emerged about the status of their relationship, however, after Meghan and Prince Harry's relocation to the United States snowballed into a storm of contentious interviews and shocking allegations.
They were willing to lie to protect other members of the family, but they weren't willing to tell the truth to protect me and my husband.
Through every bombshell and public spat, Meghan and Harry made a point of emphasizing that they were still close to the Queen. That confession didn't deter critics from scrutinizing Meghan's tears at Elizabeth's funeral, however. According to The Mirror, a viral theory on social media claimed that Meghan had put her acting chops to use by faking her grief. It's far from unusual to see a bride shed a tear or two on her wedding day. What's rarer is seeing her cry so much that people actually become concerned for her. That's pretty much how Princess Charlene's tears were interpreted back in 2011, when she tied the knot with Prince Albert II of Monaco. Images from their wedding splashed across the global press, many of them showing Charlene's cheeks glistening with tears as she kept a handkerchief handy. The Guardian reported that the prince begged in a whisper to stop his bride from crying, while ABC News highlighted how Charlene supposedly flinched when Albert asked her for a kiss. Though she later explained away her tears as being customary for a bride, it was impossible to ignore the fact that Charlene had tried to escape Monaco thrice in the run-up to her wedding. This was thought to be related to allegations of infidelity on Albert's part. At the time, the Playboy prince was said to have fathered a third love child, in addition to the two he already had out of wedlock, and he even reportedly took DNA tests at Charlene's behest. While Charlene's attempts to bolt were intercepted by Monaco each time, they sparked a flurry of enduring speculation over her relationship with Albert. Even after over a decade of marriage, Charlene is rarely seen wearing her wedding ring in public. In the third season of The Crown, Queen Elizabeth is shown struggling to cry over the 1966 Aberfan disaster.
Put on a show. The Crown doesn't do that.
However, the late monarch was photographed getting teary-eyed on more than one occasion during her reign. One such instance dates back to 2002 when she attended the Remembrance Day service at Westminster Abbey in honor of military martyrs. The press there captured the usually stoic-faced queen in a somber state, dressed in all black with tears running down her face. This was the first time she had attended the annual holiday without her mother, Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother, who died earlier that same year in March. The widely popular image has been falsely credited to other solemn events over the years, including Prince Philip's death in 2021, an incident that nevertheless inspired more public emotions from Elizabeth. The late Queen's apparent lack of emotional expression remained a key feature of her life as a public figure, though, something royal experts attribute to her upbringing and sense of propriety as the head of state. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's relationship with the British royals grew ever more fraught when Harry and Meghan was released in 2022. This Netflix documentary gave audiences a glimpse into the full extent of their troubles, with candid first-person accounts from the couple that involved many tears. More than once, Meghan broke down on camera while talking about her time in Britain and the backlash that came her way after the pair stepped down from their royal duties.
It's not just a tabloid. It's not just some story. You are making me scared.
One episode also featured a clip of the couple attending a guided meditation session that left Meghan overwhelmed. While the series received massive numbers, pulling in a record debut viewership of 81.6 million hours for Netflix, reviews were mixed. The documentary was the first of several productions Netflix was slated to work on with the Sussexes. Today, however, the future of their $100 million deal stands on rocky ground. In 2024, royal insider Richard Fitzwilliams told the Daily Mail that now that The Crown has come to an end, Netflix has little interest in producing content on the royals. King Frederik X let his emotions flow freely during his swearing-in ceremony as the monarch of Denmark in 2024, as thousands flooded the streets outside Christiansborg Palace to witness the historic moment. The royal premier appeared visibly overwhelmed, and between smiles and waves could be seen wiping away tears. These sentiments were all but expected, given that Frederik took over from his mother, Queen Margrethe II, who, in a surprising turn of events, stepped down from the throne after reigning for 52 years. This marked the first such abdication in nearly 900 years, supposedly brought on by a back surgery Margrethe underwent in 2023. In his first official address as king, Frederik said, "My hope is to become a unifying king of tomorrow. It is a task I have approached all my life." Given how rare it is to see a male sovereign become emotional in public, Frederik's reaction to the ascension was widely covered in the press and contrasted with the stoicism of King Charles III's coronation. The Guardian reported that the formal handover was also a highly emotional affair behind closed doors, with Margrethe tearing up while signing her abdication. She had served as Denmark's longest reigning and most popular monarch, leading to speculation over whether there might have been another reason behind her premature resignation. There were even some suggestions that she handed down the crown as a redemptive act for Frederik, who had been accused of cheating on his wife. The Stockholm terror attack marked a tragic moment for Sweden, leaving the whole country in grief. Crown Princess Victoria led the mass mourning in 2017 with a visit to the site of the attack, where a hijacked truck had driven into crowds on the street, killing 5 people and injuring many others. Choked with emotion, Victoria said, "I feel an enormous sorrow and emptiness." Her tears resurfaced when she attended a memorial concert honoring attack victims a year after the tragedy. Victoria, who will succeed her father, King Carl XVI Gustaf, has emerged as a popular royal, not just in her home country, but across Europe. The striking candor with which she has spoken publicly about her experiences with anorexia and dyslexia is largely uncharacteristic of a royal and has been met with considerable admiration. Speaking to public broadcaster SVT, she revealed, "The performance anxiety I had is still there. I've been given different kinds of tools and learned how to manage it." Prince Archie's birth in 2019 was significant for more reasons than one. For starters, Buckingham Palace had been thoroughly rattled in the run-up to it amid allegations of racism and mental health neglect brought up during Meghan Markle and Prince Harry's infamous interview with Oprah Winfrey. It also signaled the bittersweet arrival of a scion with an uncertain future in the family, given his parents' decision to step away from the royal family. And of course, Meghan and Harry themselves found themselves overwhelmed by the birth of their first child after everything that had transpired. The world caught a glimpse of the emotions involved in Archie's birth during a vulnerable moment at the Well Child Awards in 2019.
I remember.
Harry only got so far before his emotions got the better of him, and he had to pause to regain his composure. He went on to recount the emotions he and Meghan went through as expectant parents, and how the experience of parenthood had moved him. Harry and Meghan, who also welcomed Princess Lilibet in 2021, are bringing up their children in the laid-back locales of California, away from the prying eyes of the British press and the troubles of royal life. It's an emotional moment for any parent to see their child come of age. No matter how blue-blooded they may be, royals are still human, and Queen Mathilde didn't hold back her tears at the official ceremony celebrating her daughter Crown Princess Elizabeth's 18th birthday. This event didn't just mark her transition into adulthood, but also a key milestone in her inheritance of the Belgian throne, which she could now occupy without a regent. The nationally broadcast event in 2019 was grand, to put it mildly, with the who's who of Belgian royalty, politics, and entertainment in attendance. Mathilde was seen getting misty-eyed among the sea of dignitaries inside the royal palace, presumably more as a mother than a queen watching a future sovereign take the stage. In her first address, Elizabeth commemorated her parents who sat in the audience holding hands. She said, "Thanks, Mama, for your presence and your listening ear. Thanks, Dad, for your trust. I know I can always count on you." Elizabeth's ascension to the throne will be a landmark moment for Belgium, as she will be the country's first ever monarch. Princess Diana wasn't called the People's Princess for nothing. She was famous and beloved for her ability to empathize and engage deeply with humanitarian issues.
HIV does not make people dangerous to know, so you can shake their hands and give them a hug. Heaven knows they need it.
But her visit to Southport back in 1992 captured public attention for very different reasons. The Princess of Wales was in the Merseyside town for the opening of Queen's Court Hospice when she experienced a public breakdown. Local paper, the Southport Visitor, detailed Diana's interactions with people outside the hospice before her eyes filled with tears, forcing her to jump into a waiting car. You might think that the somber setting of a palliative center might have moved the princess to tears, but the press at the time guessed otherwise. The charity opening had marked Diana's first official engagement after rumors of her impending separation from then Prince Charles had begun circulating. Meanwhile, excerpts from the biography Diana, Her True Story were appearing in the media pre-release, which led to wide speculation about her private life. In Southport, photographers scrambled to get the so-called Diana crying shot, which was reckoned to be evidence of the princess's fragile emotional state. Prince Philip's death in 2021 marked an emotional moment for followers of the British royals. Inside the walls of Buckingham Palace, the loss was felt more personally. Princess Beatrice, in particular, was overcome with emotion at the memorial service held for the Duke of Edinburgh at Westminster Abbey, even holding her hymn sheet up to cover her sobs. Beatrice's emotions were particularly noticeable given her position near other key royals, such as Queen Elizabeth and Prince William. This was not the first time Beatrice had become overwhelmed with regard to her grandfather. Appearing on the 2016 ITV documentary Our Queen at 90, she gushed profusely about Philip, saying, "When I talk about my grandfather, I really get quite emotional. I'm very lucky there have been so many times where I have been able to share magical moments with my grandfather." One of these moments had been her wedding to Edoardo Mapelli Mazzi in 2020. A picture from the private ceremony, among the only few to be made public, showed Philip and Elizabeth looking lovingly at the happy couple outside the chapel. It marked the last time the royal pair saw any of their grandchildren get married.